time for Measure Twice.
Welcome to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk, 95.3 MNC. We are brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Well, welcome to spring. We had a bout with spring a couple weeks ago, and now I feel like we're there. I'm just deeming that so I can jinx the whole area.
You just did.
I just jinxed everybody.
It's supposed to cool off this afternoon.
What?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 70 tomorrow.
Cold front's supposed to come through.
Oh, boy.
But then 70 tomorrow.
Now you're getting your weather.
Yeah, and that was the weather brought to you by Joel Graber and Chris
C. Kramer Interiors.
Where Chris says, if you want to know the weather, open a window.
But replace it first.
Oh, my goodness. We should talk about windows, but no, we're not. That's a different topic. I was perusing the National Association of Home Builders, NAB, if you will. NAB. No.
NAB.
Yeah.
NAB.
I don't think NAB. What are you nabbing me? And they have short articles on there. It's clearly like an industry website, whatever. And it was NAHB remodelers reveal the most popular home remodeling projects. And they had a giant survey.
Wow.
It was such a big survey. It was still loading when we sat down.
Oh. So they surveyed homeowners?
Home builders.
Home builders.
So now,
Got it.
and that's not that I don't trust homeowners. What?
And remodelers? Or
yes. Home builders and remodelers. Correct. Mostly I think it's basically remodelers, though, because they're projects. So, like, building a new home isn't one of the projects. That's
its own.
Yeah, it's its own thing. Yeah, we're going to remodel this woods
By tearing them down.
Oh man, so there. I think that when you poll homeowners, you might not always get somebody that's actually done the project,
Or they'll think they'll think like something is. They'll just answer because they think it's the
answer, right? And it's not like it's not valuable information because they're the feeling of the market, like the consumers, the feeling of the market. But then when you ask like the people who are doing it, that's what's actually happened. So you can really compare the two at that point, and then you can get some sort of data. But naturally, the NAHB is very close to being like a government website, so it's kind of the survey's kind of set up that way. Not criticizing, I'm just saying it's not real super easy to look at. Really. It's like current market conditions, large remodeling projects of $50,000 or more. They go all the way back to 2021. The index for that is about half of the reported projects were in the $50,000 range in 2021.
You're saying 50,000 and above?
It's 50,000 and below.
Oh,
okay. So, but that means that more than around half were 50,000 and above. By 2023, that actually had dropped.
The dollar figure?
Yeah, the average job dollar figure.
Really?
And I think if I were to just read into that, I would say COVID had a lot to do with that because you were doing big stuff because you were home,
And stuff was even more inflated.
Yeah.
Right. And then now the projects got smaller because I bet if we had looked at like 2015, it'd probably be the same index as, you know what I mean? We're kind of normalizing, for lack of a better term. I'm not, but also the stupid thing doesn't open up on one screen, which really bothers me. But I thought that was kind of interesting that they're the average size of a project is even that size. You know what I mean? Because I guess my question is to you, maybe Joel, do you have an average project size in your business?
I don't know. Maybe that's something we need to track.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do you, Chris? Do you have like an average project size?
No. They all vary by the degree of what their remodeling job is.
And at the very least, it's certainly not predictable.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like you couldn't predict it. You can, I guess, add up all your business, divide by your customers, and that's your average size. But that doesn't really work. That math doesn't really work from the remodeler and designer side because your average might be one number, but it might be based on one giant job.
It could throw off your numbers.
Yeah. Throw it off because you can only have so many jobs in a year. There's only,
because you don't know if it's going to be a complete tear out or just a light, what we call a light refresh.
Right. So it is kind of like random. It feels random, but it's probably not. There's probably indicators in there that are consistent that you can look at as a business. But how does that work for the person who's listening in their car, driving around right now? I'm driving in my car. I turn on the radio. We're going to go down the tangent. Did you ever hear the Elmer Fudd version of that? It's really...
No.
When we break, we're going to look that up, and you're going to listen to it because it's hilarious. But that means that when I look at the index, no matter what size your project, you're not a big or a small project for that person. You are a project for that person.
Right.
Your dollar amount may reflect the process, but it's probably not going to reflect on how a quality designer or remodeler is going to look at your project.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not how you guys operate. And I think that's how reputable businesses operate. They're not saying, oh, well, you're a $15,000 job and I got a $50,000 job. I'm going to treat that $50,000 job differently. And it's like, that's not really how it works.
No.
Because you can see the spread is so every dollar amount is represented, right? You don't look at somebody who's buying a certain dollar amount as different than a person who's buying a larger dollar amount. You don't treat them differently.
No.
It's not like,
nope.
Because essentially, well, as a business person, right, you wouldn't do that.
No.
It's bad business.
Bad business.
Yeah. Right. Yep. People can feel that if you feel like you're treated like
no such thing as a small dollar amount.
Right. Because every dollar should be maximized, even if it's in a small amount,
Well, and the dollar amount is just based off of the project. So as long as it, to me, what I'm looking for is people who want quality,
right,
to work. That I'm working with. That their concern is that it's done right and well, and that they have what they want.
Right.
And then the dollar amount is driven by that.
By the scope of the project.
Right.
Right. It's project.
And so,
not dollars.
If somebody's doing redoing a entryway, that's going to be smaller than a major kitchen renovation.
But it's still a project.
If there's a vision there and that they want to do it quality, like I don't care if it's less dollars, it's the project.
Yeah. And that's kind of where a red flag, if you're having somebody come in and do work, a red flag would be them if somebody brags about the size of, like, you have you're doing an entryway and they're talking about they have to get on a job that's $100,000 job, or you know what I mean? That should be a red flag. Like, well, you know what? This is the project that you're doing, aren't you? It would show a sign of less focus. And I think that consumers can feel that.
Yeah.
When you talk to them. Something about you two, when you talk to consumers, they know that, oh, you're my next project. And while we're here, And it's the most important project that I have. It's a dead heat, with all of the projects.
The only time I talk about other projects is if we've done something that's similar. So I can show them, hey, I think this is kind of what you're talking about. Maybe something like this, with your spin on it.
Right, exactly. And because there's a lot of good information in this report, but I looked at the scope and size and I was like, wow, when I see that $50,000 is kind of like the break number, it's not the average, because the average is actually a little bit less than that, because you got to figure people are doing small jobs that are or DIY jobs and stuff. But that 50,000 is that's a decent number, wow, it kind of got me. And from the side of the project manager and the side of the customer, the number is just the number.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Right.
That's really the work is the thing. So I think that's a good foundation to go on to talk about what's next. What are the most popular jobs coming up on Measure Twice? Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Machina's Newstalk 95.3 MNC. Thanks for listening. And we are brought to you by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops. With the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. So we're talking about the most popular renovation jobs of up to date from as up to date as we can get from the National Association of Home Builders, which their information is complete through 2024. So it must take them a while to compile like a year. So it feels like it's like a year behind, even though it says 2026. I mean, really, it's only a year. So everybody write down on a piece of paper. No, I'm just kidding. Chris, what's the most popular in 2024? What's the most common remodeling job for someone in your industry, your business?
I would say either a kitchen or a bath.
What do you think?
Kitchen.
You say kitchen. You say
Basement.
Whoa, basement.
Yeah.
It's bathroom.
I knew it was going to be one or the other.
So check this out. 65% of all jobs reported to the National Association of Home Builders, which are thousands of companies. Thousands.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 10,000. In 2024, it was 65% of all jobs.
Wow.
What do you think that, and the information goes back to 2017. What was the percentage in 2017?
For bathrooms being redone?
Yeah.
You said it was
65% of all jobs had to do with the bathroom.
In 24.
In 24. It was quite a bit higher in 2017.
Really? Well, it's because there's so many were done in that time.
You think that's what it is? I don't know. It's 80%.
Wow.
And then, of course, second place would be kitchens. Right. So we knew. I mean, you kind of knew it was either bathroom or kitchens. I think you went basement because you were trying to do the high dollar, high risk payout.
I don't know.
It was just coming up with something different.
I
think that's what you're. Yeah, Vegas we would have paid high, but but we knew it, right? And kitchens were 61% in 2024 and 81% in 2017. I feel like that's a technology thing.
What?
Because so much higher of a percentage of jobs were kitchens and bathrooms in 2017. 80%? That only leaves 20% for every other room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a big number. Big.
Well, I mean, I get it is, but if you think about 2017, It took years for people to rebound from 2008,
Right.
Yes.
just in general. And that would have been about the time that things were really starting to heat up. So maybe there was a backlog of people that are like, I just want to get this taken care of.
Right.
And they'd been waiting for nearly a decade.
Right. You're right. That's a good point. That's a really good point. They go all the way back to 2003. I just realized I didn't see that page when I was doing the research on here. 2003 it was only 67%. So
I would guess that's probably about right,
now
generally speaking.
the disclaimer here is if you added a bathroom, right? They considered that a bathroom remodel. And I could see that.
It's still a remodel project.
Right. So some of these are the same number. So like number 4 on the list is bathroom additions. So it's incorporated in here. So you kind of got to do a little bit of interpretation here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wait, that equals more than 100%. You know, like
Right.
that's because it's included in as part of that. So additions were 23% of that 65%. So, you know, okay. I don't want to get lost in that. Where we start getting into I think number 3 seems pretty obvious then. And I'll just tell you so we're not sitting here guessing all the time. But windows were number 3 as a remodeling job. But we're really, and decks were right after that. So is a deck a remodeling job?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it is. I don't know. I was thinking like is a basketball court, you know, a remodeling job.
Well, I mean,
You know,
a lot
I
of
don't know.
times it's people just redoing the deck that they currently have because it needs
Right,
redone.
right.
Updating it, making it bigger.
Oh, and this time of year, it's probably like deck central too.
Oh,
Like
yeah. People start paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, do I have to power this? Wash this one more time and a bunch of woods.
Yeah, right. Yeah, take a gouge. You may as well start writing your name in the deck if you're using the power washer. Actually, on a side note, my next door neighbor's has a composite deck, and the foundation undermined in one spot, and it sunk, like it looked like a roller coaster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, good fasteners.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah, it did. The boards looked perfect. They were just, by like 2.5, 3 feet.
Wow.
Wow. And then and you know what happened. The deck guy said, well, it didn't really fail so much as they didn't have any support under it.
I was going to say there had to be like something massively wrong with the structure.
Built the deck, and there was support under every other. It's basically a square, 4 quadrants. 3 of the quadrants had support under it. Right there, it didn't because they left room for his vent for his washer and dryer there. He didn't even know it was. He was like, I always wondered where that came out. I'm like, oh my gosh. I know
Still
your
doesn't
face is
make
priceless.
sense,
Your
like,
face is
why you
priceless.
would.
Yeah, his deck guy had the same face. He was like, I don't understand why they did this. But a testament to composite wood. He didn't need to replace it. They put him out. They straightened out. They could put him right back on. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's the testament to that kind of deck. It's a little pricey, but holy moly.
It's what I would consider like a quote unquote lifetime deck.
It pretty much is. It pretty much is. Okay.
Especially the newer stuff.
By the way, just to make you feel good, finished basement is right after deck.
That makes
So
sense.
Okay.
But that's it, right? Like you think about it, like if you were to say, what are the main jobs in remodeling? That's pretty much them, right? Kitchen, bathroom, windows, deck, basement. Right? I mean, they're the big 5.
Yeah.
Right, Chris? In the world of renovation, because you're not really, living rooms don't generally need a lot of renovation.
I mean, that's usually like maybe some trim, maybe put built-ins, fireplace,
Yeah.
Paint. But it's not like, it's not anything
Right.
that's major.
It's not like a kitchen where you're
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Some stuff's happening in there.
Yeah. And
there's some demo.
usually people are like, I'll just paint it.
Exactly. Exactly. If there's demolition that is involved,
I'm surprised. Like, where's flooring? Do they have a section for flooring?
I will look.
That's a big one.
And we have dead air.
They don't have just flooring on here for some reason. They have roofing. That's about 11% of remodeling.
You consider that remodeling? A roof?
But yeah, that's what I mean. It's not a
It's
remodel.
really maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's the builders, so they're just saying, "I got a job." I don't know. But you're right. Is siding a remodel? Because siding's right after roofing.
Yeah, it could be.
Now they have second story additions were like 5% of the total jobs.
Never been listening to the show.
They have been. What that indicates to me is they're doing dollar amount, not number of jobs. Right? Because that would be a high dollar job.
Mm-hmm.
Adding a second.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty labor intensive.
Yeah, I would think. Exercise rooms were like 2%. It made the list.
Huh.
And
Made the list.
I'm just saying, that's wild to me. And it wasn't even on the list in like 2003.
No.
It just appeared on the list.
That probably, that I don't know. When did that become something that people really started talking about, Chris? 2015?
Exercise rooms?
Yeah.
I think before that, but they're not that common.
And they weren't elaborate, right? They're kind of getting
No.
a little bit more elaborate now. Right?
Oh, yeah. I've seen some.
Like what this tells me, though, is that if you're standing in front of a seasoned remodeler or designer, like there are probably better questions to ask than what kind of jobs do you do? Because they probably do kitchens, bathrooms, like that's probably where you are there. So when we come back, let's dig in to see what the market thinks about this. Like, who's out there with you when you're planning your job? This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We are brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about what's popular and what are the trends in renovation and remodeling. And there's some really cool information from the home builders. What is it? It's basically the, let's see, what do we call them? The National Association of Home Builders. I got my letters all mixed up in my head there. All of a sudden, NAHB, whatever. NAB. But obviously bathrooms, kitchens at the top of the list. We didn't need to really do any scientific research there. I mean, obviously that's what's going on. So then I move over to one of our favorite websites, house.com, and their article regarding the same subject, but kind of from mixing the consumers and the builders together, mixing that information together. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they were talking about like what are the most popular remodeling projects, but they're doing it as like based on from year to year. So they're going 23 to 24.
Okay.
Right? Because 25 information isn't just not out yet.
No.
Right? In their world, kitchens were number one, but they're strictly using money.
Oh, so they're going by cost per job.
Right. Which when you know the rules of the playing field, now you know how to look at it, right? Because I think it's the cost is a decent way to look at it, and as is the amount of jobs is a decent way to look at it. But what's really funny to me is in the remodeling in your guys' business, dollar amount doesn't affect the amount of jobs done, which is kind of wild. It's not like It's not like way more of the living rooms are done because it's cheaper. It's like no. No, it's not really what the case. The case is what's used most gets done most.
Yeah, typically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you
so-
spend your time.
Exactly. So that's always the case. But kitchens are up, according to them, in dollars by 25% in remodeling.
Since
It's just in 1 year.
Huh.
the
But
dollar
there's-
amount you're saying?
Dollar amount, but they're saying the scope is a lot bigger this
Wow.
year than it has been in other years. So more things are being remodeled in the kitchen as opposed to more things are happening in the remodel. Less people are keeping old cabinets. Less
Right.
people are keeping old appliances. People are reusing the floor. Like those things. That's what the article is saying.
Well, and I would imagine, like, with technology advancement, some of the things that can go in there, they cost, but people are oftentimes willing to pay that cost for the
Jump.
Yeah.
Right, the jump in technology. Because I think you're right. There's a slightly more gadgets available in your kitchen than there had been year over year.
And some of that stuff's gotten so much better that, you know, if it was something that people knew of 5 years ago, it's not worth putting it in right now because it doesn't work as well as it could.
Right. And they're also stipulating in here that they've seen a jump in adding space to kitchens.
Yes,
which would increase
I've seen
the
that.
cost. You know,
A lot of people talking about how to get more space for their kitchen.
right. So whereas the median spend on a kitchen remodel was like, now they're saying everything across the board. So they even disclaim that it sounds low, but it's not when you consider somebody's just doing like a countertop, which has to get lumped in here.
Right.
But they're saying the average kitchen remodel was like 15 when you include everything. That means somebody's just doing one thing. Right?
Changing a faucet.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So that they were really high on disclaiming that look, this isn't, if you take all those out, it's much higher.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It went from 15 to 25, in just a short amount of time. Right. But I think we see that. And they're saying technology is to blame there. It's not to blame, but it's
The catalyst that's driving the.
exactly. And the need for more space. And apparently there was a line in the
I
article.
would say the desire.
Desire, right. It's funny you say that because I was just about to say, they were like, in the 90s and early 2000s, people were more okay with the smaller space.
Yeah, you had great rooms. People
Yeah.
were doing great rooms.
Right.
And then the kitchen was incorporated into that, and it wasn't like a big space.
Right. They're seeing, and I don't know if you agree with this, they're seeing people are now kind of separating kitchens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like your kitchen's a kitchen.
And not part of a great room.
Not
I haven't
necessarily.
seen that yet.
Not necessarily.
I mean, not in I haven't seen that in new construction.
Right. So so maybe they're somewhere that or maybe they could be making it up, honestly. I don't know.
Well, maybe there is any uptick, you could say, well, maybe this is a trend.
Right.
When
But I haven't seen that either.
when I looked at it, it's more like there is wherever the entertaining area is, like TV or not entertaining, like the audio visual area, there's a barrier. So like it might still be open, but like there's no like half wall anymore. There's like a wall. It might be open around the corner completely. I totally understand that though.
Well, and also if the space is being made to be bigger, and people are congregating there,
Right.
you don't necessarily need it to be open like it was.
Right.
I guess that is something like people aren't asking as often for like just walls taken out, maybe moved more. So
Exactly. And that's kind of what they're saying. Like they're not looking at, you're not going into just a giant room. And the one lady that they interviewed, she said that it was unsightly. I can't remember the term, but basically it's nobody wants to be, if you want to clean up really quickly, to go back out to your guests. Nobody wants to hear your garbage disposal.
Oh, or the clanging of the pots and pans.
Exactly.
But that is interesting because I was reading an article recently about housing. The trend is going back to individual rooms, individual dining rooms, individual kitchens. It's not the open concept.
That's kind of what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's a morph of that. Like you just need the sound barrier.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out how to handle sound.
But it's still interesting that the kitchen is the hub. I mean, that's where everybody wants to
be.
be.
Well, look at all the cooking shows out there, and like.
But even if you're not cooking,
You're
that
still
seems
there.
to be where everybody wants to.
It's where the bourbon is. No,
No, it's not.
it's not.
Can be
It's
wine, bourbon. Hey, could be a whole bar.
Yeah,
I mean, my
you name
adult
it.
kids will come and they just want to hang out and like, I don't know, my fridge gets open like 25 times.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you have stuff in your fridge I don't have at home, so I'm going to eat this.
Yeah, the average temperature
That's what
inside
I'm-
your fridge goes down.
That's
My
what
oldest
my
son
dad-
comes and eats all my yogurt, and I'm like, what are you doing?
You have it. We don't.
No, he has it. He's just not at home.
That's
It's
pretty
cheaper
funny.
to eat mom and dad's.
That's pretty funny. For sure. That should be on here. Does your refrigerator cost go up if your kitchen's better? Or, like your food cost?
Yeah.
I bet it does.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought that was kind of interesting that the not only are the kitchen getting a little bit more expensive, but we're seeing it change again.
It's never going to be inexpensive.
No.
It can't.
It just can't be.
No.
Right. It's there's equipment in there.
Well, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean,
Plumbing, cabinets.
you need an
Flooring,
electrician, you need a
countertop.
plumber, you need a cabinet maker, you need a countertop,
Appliances.
appliances. So it goes on and on.
None of that stuff. It's like
Right.
the bathroom. The bathroom's never going to be inexpensive.
No.
If you were going price per square foot cost, the bathroom would probably be top.
So to say to that end, right? Their laundry room renovation made the list, like specifically, right?
I can see that.
Yeah.
And the cost difference is only about 11%. And they're saying that there was basically a time period where people made a decision on their washer and dryer, and it was a few years ago. So that almost the market's kind of caught up. Like much of the market has the washer and dryer they want. And so all their renovations now are in cabinets and configuration, not getting this major appliance. So it didn't go up very much. Because the technology, they didn't need it. Most people. Not everybody has exactly what they want. But I'm saying, like, as a market, as a whole, technology's evened out right now. There's no innovation
space,
like you were talking about, Chris, like that could make the cost jump like crazy amounts. It's kind of funny. And we come back, let's go into the next parts of the list, which are pretty interesting on the changes and how much and how many. This is Measured Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors. Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. I noticed the pause in your name, Joel, but it's because I'm breathing. A few weeks ago, Joel was like, "What's the pause?" And I'm like, now I can't help but
Not
think about it. Yeah, it's the
timing
I
of the
needed
whole
a breath.
thing. Yeah.
That's what it was. And for emphasis.
We can't have him pass out.
Yeah.
No, we do not want that at all.
I need all the oxygen I can get. I should probably be on pure oxygen, actually. We're talking about what are the most popular jobs. What's remodeling, remodeling projects for your home. We were using the National Association of Home Builders, NAB, and we're looking at an article from House, one of our favorite websites to just peruse around. And they are talking about the spend on interior rooms is actually on the rise. And kitchens made the big jump, and we determined that it's probably because they're adding space to kitchens. Now that seems to be a trend that they're getting bigger. And then we pointed out the laundry room is on the rise, but it's not that much. You know, it's probably because you probably have the washer and dryer you like, and now you're adding a cabinets or something like that. Which
Folding stations, hanging stations.
Yes. Yeah, and how about, man, all the gadgets you can put in a laundry room now, it's kind of interesting.
Space saving.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody like focused on the kitchen with, you know, like mixer lifts and the microwave drawers and all that stuff. And now it's like that swinging towards the laundry room to get cool stuff. Like I saw a swing out ironing board that swings out, hides underneath the cabinet.
Like under the countertop?
Or countertop or cabinet. The one I saw was under a cabinet, so it was high. And I was like, how the heck are you going to use that? Well, you pull it out, and then there's like arms that just drop it to wherever you want it. And then it comes back up and folds back underneath the cabinet. You can't even tell there was an iron there.
Or like you guys just recently did the pull-out hanging bar from the cabinet.
Pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Pull-out closet.
Yeah.
So you can put stuff in there and you don't even see
Typically, that's like cleaning products and stuff like that.
it. Right.
Yeah, but space saving because it's tucked away. So
And it looks nice.
Yeah.
Like part of the cabinetry.
If you could imagine like a laundry room that kind of looks tidy. You know, they're not always tidy because there's usually a basket of laundry around or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a laundry room. Sometimes you don't put things away.
Right. They kind of hang out there, you know, the you know, what I wanted to ask is soundproof door in a laundry room? That came up on here.
Oh,
Soundproof?
Yeah, why not?
Soundproof.
You're saying like a solid core door? Or?
Yeah, well, the part of this, I got in a rabbit hole when I was doing research, and I was like, I noticed that in the article they specifically said soundproofing a laundry room.
Yeah, so you don't hear the washer dryer if you have
the whole lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
I could see that.
But they were talking about a door, like to use a soundproof door, and I'm like, is that a like in the studio we have a soundproof door, but it's really just a wood door.
It's a solid door.
Yeah, that's what they mean.
You can use a solid core door that shuts well.
Right.
But I can see the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though they're not as loud as they used to be, they still are.
I mean, especially depending on what your washer dryer is.
And spin cycle.
Right. Right. And then I was, I got in the rabbit hole, and then I read about, the frequency of a spin cycle is hard. Even if you lowered the decibel, the frequency that it is loud to humans. Like it's a really good frequency for us to hear. So even though it's not like loud, you still hear it. You know, isn't that crazy that they're thinking about this?
Yep. But you could have it on the second floor and it vibrates your light fixtures. Who knows?
We've seen that.
That would be terrible. That'd be tragic.
That is certainly tragic.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would even fix that. Like,
I know, but you know. But
yeah.
Well,
anyway.
But these are things you have to think about, though. If you're building a house, you actually have to think about that, right? If
you would think so.
If you put, if you had like a butler station on the second floor with running water and maybe like a kitchenette, you've got to think that through because you're going to have stuff, noise.
Vibration, noise.
Yeah. I don't know that I would think of that. Like, what's the vibration going to be like up there? I wouldn't even.
Well, and that's how sound moves.
Right.
So you have to take that into effect if you don't want to.
Right.
Pass that along everywhere.
Yep. And it'll.
Where are your registers?
Oh yeah.
That's something people don't think about.
Yep.
If you set something right next to it, because then that vibration goes through the entire house.
Really? Through the ducts?
Oh yeah.
Type thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I bet.
What's the channel?
Oh my goodness.
And that vibration just follows it. And
I knew electric outlets are a thief of sound. Will take on sound. So if you have like a theater room and you have outlets and they're directly across from a speaker, you could get a buzz in a room that's not even close to that room. Yeah. If that wire is connected on, like if it goes.
It's like the old cups and string.
Exactly. It's exactly the same technology. So people were complaining like, I hear this sonic buzz, it's not loud. And it's because, we should probably remove that outlet because it's just sucking the sound into it. This is crazy stuff that you shouldn't get too paranoid over.
No.
Like this is not, these are very extreme situations.
Yes, exactly.
Here. But it actually happens.
It can happen. And those are things you can plan for those things if you know.
Right. Right. They just become part of the project that you're doing. But soundproofing the laundry room, I thought was something that was interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, especially, and I guess you're right, Chris. It's based on where it is, because if it's tucked away in like the corner of the house, then you probably
don't need it. But if it's kind of open concept off the kitchen, something, and you're sitting in your living room and you could hear it.
Right.
So,
Right. Probably a good idea to have a door, or not have it open, and it really would work. So you're saying solid core door. Ultimately, if you have a solid core door, that's technically probably what you need. You don't need like a space-aged airlock door to,
Vapor.
Yeah, right. You don't need like a vapor barrier or whatever. What was interesting to me is dining room renovation is up. So that goes along what you're saying. There's a dining room now.
Correct.
We're actually saying dining room out loud.
Right.
Right?
Not a dining area.
Yeah. How many years did we spend just talking about your dining area in here? And now
20 plus.
Now the dining room is now in the conversation. It's low. It's not like it's half the renovations, but it made the list of 20, which it was never on.
Yeah. I mean, now I hear more people talk about like they want to, in their older homes, they want to hang on to that. They don't want to, used to be, how can we incorporate that into the rest of the house?
Exactly.
Let's take out this wall and open it to the kitchen or whatever.
Now they're like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to keep this a dining room.
Right. Or take a more modern home and make it a dining room in any way that you can.
Yeah.
Along those lines, home office is now almost off the list. It's almost gone.
You don't really need back when I started, home offices were huge.
Right.
You had all the built-ins and desks, but now everything's so Wi-Fi that you don't need all of that anymore. You can work off a laptop.
Right.
Anywhere.
Exactly. You just need a place to stow the laptop so it goes away.
Right.
Is really what you're doing.
The only time I really run into it is if people have kids and they work from home a lot. Mm-hmm. They want a space that when the kids are home during the summer or breaks, that they have a place where they can close some doors so that they can get some stuff done.
And it's probably a mix of the reason why it's dropping off the list is because probably new home builds now are kind of including a room that can be called an office or a bedroom. Mm-hmm. And two, there's probably a little less need of the closed off area.
Yeah.
Now the price still went up, but they're saying that the price is going up because it's a natural increase in price. It's not like it's an increase of materials and things like that. That's the show. Now, I think that's interesting information to go forward with. Obviously, kitchen and bathroom. That's the name of the game. And we're out of time. Thanks for listening. This has been Measure Twice.
Podcasts by Federated Media.